move on. And the Olympics, of course, is all about celebrating the elite athletes of 2012, but we're also meeting some of the up-and-coming Welsh athletes of whom great things are expected. Jo Coombs is here, Head of Performance and Excellence at Welsh Gymnastics, and also we're joined by Welsh gymnast hopefuls Jessica Hogg and Lizzie Beddoe. Morning both, welcome to you all. Jo, it must be very exciting sitting here thinking that in a year's time you'll be watching, well, the first games of the London 2012 Olympics.
Yes, certainly is. I think with all the media coverage this week, it's certainly starting to become a reality that, you know, in a year's time we'll be hosting the games, and it's all very exciting to be involved in it.
Tell us a bit about your job, Jo. What is it?
I'm employed by Welsh Gymnastics to look after the performance side of the sport. So primarily I work with the coaches and those volunteers that work within gymnastics to support the gymnasts to ensure they can actually perform to the standard that we would like them to get to, and they have the potential to do. So it's a bit of my responsibility to make sure that, you know, they've got the right things that they need to actually get to that standard.
I should explain before we delve any further into this interview that any second now, because this is a live radio programme, your ears might be blasted by yet another Millennium Stadium tour. So I must apologise to you in advance if your ears start to bleed as the loudspeakers take off.
It is very loud when it does happen.
What happens? Jessica and Lizzie are looking at me rather peculiarly. What happens is the people who are being walked around the Millennium Stadium walk down this exciting tunnel that you see on the telly where all the rugby players run down. So people paying a couple of quid to come and do the Millennium Stadium tour come down here and they have all the sort of shouting and the music. So if that happens, we'll
carry on regardless.
We'll pretend we're playing for Wales.
Shout.
It's very straightforward, yeah.
Jo, how long have you been involved with gymnastics?
Oh, might give away my age actually if I say that. About 30 years I've been involved. I was a gymnast myself, and then went into coaching and judging, and obviously sort of now employed within gymnastics as well.
So was it gymnastics at school that got you hooked?
Yes, it was actually. I was.
Oh!
You jumped then, didn't you? I've never seen anybody jump so high in my life. I warned you. You knew it was going to happen.
Gymnastics, and also Welsh hopefuls Jessica Hogg and Lizzie Beddoe. Jessica, you're only 15.
Yeah.
So you're young, but when did you get into gymnastics? Was it school or was it a gymnastics club?
I started when I was 3, and I did like little baby classes.
You see, I've got a
College
3-year-old,
Central.
and I can't imagine her being able to coordinate herself enough to be able to do it. But I suppose if you're in an environment, you're copying and you're just enjoying it, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's really fun doing the toddler class and then start progressing then.
Yeah, and did you have any area that that you went into? Because there are lots of different sort of disciplines within gymnastics, aren't there? Are there any areas that you really like or that you excel at?
I'm probably the best at floor, and I enjoy that the most because I like dancing. So that's probably my favourite.
Yeah, and what about you, Lizzie? You're 16 years old now. When did you start?
I started when I was 4 in
so you were both really young.
Yeah, in the local leisure centre.
Lizzie, what about your regime? I mean, tell me what you do in terms of the amount of training per week. And are you doing this after school and weekends or what?
Yeah, we train 6 days. We usually get a Sunday off, and we train 4 to 6 hours a day. So that's usually missing some school and going straight from school, training afterwards.
That's a big commitment, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you must, it's funny, we were chatting with Becky James' family earlier, and they were talking about cycling and how to do anything, you've got to absolutely love it. And I suppose to put the kind of effort that you girls do, that's the crux of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, and what about, we've heard about Jessica liking floor work. What about you? What's your thing?
I probably like bars best.
The bars.
The bars, yeah.
Oh gosh, you see, my stomach turns when I'm watching it. I love watching the gymnastics.
Yeah.
Jo, I was brought up on watching gymnastics when there was incredible. The Russians, the Chinese, the young girls were just out of this world, and thinking, how is that physically possible? But it's opened up, hasn't it, gymnastics now?
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, there's a lot more countries that, sort of are meddling, particularly within the artistic discipline that the girls are involved in. So it's anybody's game, really. And Britain, on the women's artistic front and the men's artistic front, are doing exceptionally well currently. So 2012 should be very exciting for them.
Lizzie, I mean, 2012 might be quite exciting for you. I mean, you were the youngest ever under-9 British champion, all-round bronze at the 2007 UK School Games, and 2010 Jessica was the first British gymnast to compete in the inaugural Youth Olympics in Singapore when she qualified for the finals. I mean, what's your ambition as you look ahead now to 2012 and beyond? Where do you want to be?
I would really like, it'd be amazing to get into the Olympics, but at the moment we're just training as hard as we can, because before that is the World Championships in October, so that's the first aim really to train towards.
Joe, how does Wales, I mean, with the girls and with many others as well, it sounds like Wales is doing well, and you know, that strength is coming up through the ranks. How does Wales sort of maintain that strength and really produce some world-class gymnasts?
Well, it's a lot of time and effort by the coaches that that are involved in it. We obviously have our club structure, which start the gymnasts off, and from then they will be selected in their relevant disciplines to become squad members. We're fortunate enough to actually have an academy for women's artistic that is based in Sport Wales National Centre and headed up by Tracy Skirton-Davis, who is full-time coach for Welsh Gymnastics and women's artistic. So we're very fortunate, and that type of environment is really needed for gymnasts to actually be able to compete at the top end of the sport. So we're very fortunate for women's artistic. Some of the other disciplines obviously need to get to that stage, so we're working with those other Olympic disciplines to make sure that we can become world class as well.
And do gymnasts, excuse my ignorance, Joe, gymnasts choose a discipline within gymnastics, do they, or do all gymnasts train in all disciplines?
No, it depends on, a lot of the time, luck as to what club is near you and what type of gymnastics they do. So I mean, the 4 Olympic disciplines are women's and men's artistic, trampolining and rhythmic gymnastics. So they're the 4 Olympic, and then we have another 4 non-Olympic disciplines that there's an awful amount of variety in gymnastics that people can do. Majority will start in an artistic background, and then depending on their talent and physically how they're made up, they may actually then diverse into other types of disciplines.
Joe Coombs, lovely to see you. Thank you very much indeed. Joe Coombs, the Head of Performance and Excellence at Welsh Gymnastics, and Jessica Hogg and Lizzie Beddoe too. Thank you very much for coming along, and we wish you every success and continued success.
Thank you.